this is such a weird game and why I'm so happy that we've got it here on the B stream. Spawning in the bottom left-hand side of Oxide LE, it is our red Terran player representing Alpha X. His name is Future. Steadfast, you want to drive for this game again?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All yours, buddy.
Awesome. And we have spawning up in the top right position of the map, representing X Gen GX. It is PiLiPiLi, the most successful player from Kazakhstan.
And the only player from Kazakhstan.
Small but significant caveat there.
That one Kazakhstan server it's bored most of the time, and then it's like, hey, wait a minute. Well, you might be wondering, hey, wait a minute, he's from Kazakhstan, why is he playing in North America? Obviously, these players have to be a resident of North America to play here as of next season. This season, though, as long as you have an American passport or a Canadian or a Mexican passport, you can, a Canadian or U.S. passport, you can play on the North America tournaments. So PiLiPiLi has that American residency. I'm not actually sure of his legal status, but he's got a legal status in the United States, so he's able to compete in the North America region instead of the, I don't even know where a player from Kazakhstan would even compete. Europe? I guess?
Yeah, it would have to be Europe, because it's pretty close to you there. Adonmanis is from Israel, and he was competing in Europe.
That's
and
true.
They're geographically relatively pretty close, so
Sure.
I would have to assume it'd be a similar situation.
Interesting. Yeah, so two really good players here. As you said, Future at the top of the bracket right now, 5-1 with a +8 overall map score. So he's one game ahead of Scarlet, who's also at 5-1. PiLiPiLi, though, is the really interesting player in this group right now, sitting at 3-3 in a tie with Jon Snow, basically, for that 4th place spot. Again, one game ahead of Jon Snow. So PiLiPiLi really needs the win here, and as long as Jon Snow does at least as well as PiLiPiLi does, PiLiPiLi is still going to move on. So if Jon Snow loses 0-2 and PiLiPiLi loses 0-2, he still moves on. His life not quite in his hands right now.
Jon Snow, that is correct.
Yeah.
Jon Snow has his best, what he needs to do more than anything is win and win 2-0.
Yeah.
That is his best case scenario. Now, even if he wins 2-0, if PiLiPiLi were to win 2-1, PiLiPiLi would still come out ahead because they would tie in terms of that plus-minus ratio, that let's call it win differential.
Sure.
But we would have PiLiPiLi with more map wins overall.
Yep.
And, well, that is one of the deciding factors.
Yeah, this tiebreaker system really interesting. If you guys want to study it yourself, feel free to type the exclamation point bracket in the chat. And at the very top of the Liquipedia page, it does tell you exactly what all of the tiebreak conditions are for these players. Obviously, never been more important than here on day 7, Steadfast. Little 1-1-1 out from Future, and our Blink with Robo behind it for PiLiPiLi. Blink Stalkers versus a Cloaked Banshee. Who wins this fight, Steadfast?
Well, generally speaking, the Blink Stalker player is going to be in a good position to deal with this, but you have to know that it's coming. You have to know that it's coming. You have to have your units in position. Actually, technically, having your units in position, it doesn't matter if you know it's coming. As long as you do, you're going to be in a good state, I should say. This is actually a really nicely placed shield battery for PiLiPiLi, because not only does it kind of defend the front a little bit, it also covers most of this mineral line, and that is going to mean any Cloaked Banshee coming into the natural not going to be able to pick off probes unless it takes like 7 shots for a Banshee to kill a probe if there's a shield battery healing it.
Yeah, definitely. Second Banshee behind this for Future, but he's going to get tank out as well, which I quite like. Going to be able to control a little bit of this space in between his main and his natural. No third base, though, opting instead for Barracks 2 and 3, which means that PiLiPiLi's extra gates and Warp Prism going to be very aggressive, but might be pushed back by Future, who's doing a pretty reasonable build against this. This could come down to the actual micro during the fights.
Yeah, this is a pretty crazy build coming out of PiLiPiLi right here. He is a little bit of a wild card player, I would say, and kind of showing that right now. Ooh, nice Marine Scout for Future. Is going to see that there's no third base, and, well, that's going to allow Future to potentially build a bunker in the main base. And, oh, nice scan taking out that observer.
That's
no blink
enormous.
in the main for you.
Absolutely enormous.
Well,
if you do blink in the main, you've got to use the Warp Prism to do it, and that's so frustrating to deal with because the Warp Prism doesn't want to be put in danger of getting gunned down by those Marines. As Blink finishes up, we're going to see an immediate blink onto the tank, or possibly just onto the tank, and then straight onto the bunker here. No repair on the bunker. That means the bunker's going to go down, and now these Stalkers have free reign. Warp Prism going straight into the main, though, Steadfast, and these Stalkers are more a distraction than anything else.
Yeah, they get some nice damage done on this defensive setup for Future. They're going to deny this bunker once again and trap a lot of the SCVs in the natural. Meanwhile, Adept's actually being warped in, and that is going to help a surprising amount. 23 SCVs have gone down. Oh, a big blink forward on top of that tank. Will take it out. Now, it did blink into a bit of a surround. Oh, PiLiPiLi's going to lose a lot of these Stalkers, but he's already gotten so much damage done. And now, warping in a couple more Stalkers into the main base. Future is in a world of hurt right now.
Yeah, Banshee's getting a bit of damage done back in PiLiPiLi's main base, actually. But, of course, the Stalkers are here now, and with the shield battery, they should be able to drive them out pretty easily. Observer coming in as well. That's a lot more sustainable damage for PiLiPiLi's Warp Prism just now picking up to get out of the main. But you can see on the right side of the screen there, 34 SCVs for just 10 probes. Steadfast, this game all but over now. It would take a Barry Manilow-style miracle, a true blue spectacle, for Future to come back.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really tough situation for Future. Now, those Cloak Banshees, the return damage, very nice. But PiLiPiLi is now aware of it. He's now preparing for it. Stim is going to be able to finish up here, which is, of course, very important. Oh, but that fresh mule, oh, that's a lot of the economy, actually, of Future that is about to get picked off right here. Yeah, ooh, and he's going to get combat shields as well.
Man, the pickoff really solid there. Even if he doesn't lose that mule combat shield, such a better point. And now it's just Marines, which means the blink back micro can be impressive from PiLiPiLi. He's still got the observer here, and Future knows it. GG. PiLiPiLi with that strong game one timing, Steadfast. We said it was all going to come down to the fights, and gosh dang it if we weren't right. Great blinks from PiLiPiLi. A little bit slow on the bunker repair there on the initial fight from Future, and that's all she wrote. That's all it takes is a couple good fights. PiLiPiLi able to snowball that very far forward, and of course the good defense against the Banshees back home. Steadfast, did you see anything that Future could have done to defend a little bit better against that?
Well, I mean, he identified it a little bit late, and unfortunately didn't have anything to kind of keep his units covered. There was only that one tank. It got blunked on immediately, and from that point on, it was going to be a really, really tough defense. I would have to... I'd have to go into that one in a little bit detail. There's not really a simple answer to that one.
You're absolutely correct. I feel like there's never a simple answer when it's those micro versus micro battles. It's not like in the previous game, we saw Stefano marching into a huge Liberator push with ghosts everywhere, like just walking into a bad position and not microing at all, and that's just like a bad positioning error. But when it's these little tiny micro fights, it's never one big thing, it's always a couple little things here and there. The blink on top of the tank and not able to get it away. No repair on the bunker. The snipe on the observer, but no snipe on the second observer, right? Just all these little tiny things going wrong for Future that allowed PiLiPiLi to grab game number one, which seems to be continuing our trend, Steadfast, where the underdog player wins game number one. And now, the number two, Future needs to win games 2 and 3 if he wants to maintain that top spot.
Yes, he does still... Ooh, actually... you know what? He no longer controls his own destiny, I don't think. Yeah, no, even if he wins 2-1, if Scarlet 2-0s, she will advance on... they'll have the same win differential, but she will advance with more wins overall. So that ends up being a pretty significant loss for Future right here. Now, Jon Snow, of course, is going to be fighting desperately for his own tournament life. So there's no question that Scarlet's going to have a tough opponent. Yeah. But there's a reason that she's 5-1 and Jon Snow right now is 3-3. Scarlet is a little bit favored in that match. Definitely will be the case. We're getting into game number 2 now. Romanticide LE with Future and PiLiPiLi. Man, Future, desperately has to win these next 2, and even if he does, Scarlet can still overtake him for that first spot. Now remember, the top 2 players do move on to the upper bracket, so it's okay if he gets the second place, but as you pointed out the last time, Steadfast, if you get the second place slot, you gotta play with a first place player from the other bracket, and that just means a much more difficult fight, especially since that B bracket, or that B group rather,
is jam-packed with good players. Estrella, Neeb, Namshar, TLO, a very scary bracket on the other side.
Absolutely is, and you never want to be walking into that. But, well, he's still got a chance at that #1 spot, but he's going to have to turn it around here, spawning up in the top left position of Romanticide, representing Alpha X. It is Future.
And Future's opponent, the bottom right-hand side in the blue from Genesis Gaming. It is our Protoss player, PiLiPiLi. And Future being a bit cheeky here. Was that what you were about to say, Steadfast?
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting little move. He is getting a gas behind it, so it's just going to be that single proxied racks. And because of the position, going to be a little bit weird to kind of scout up there. But yeah, he might actually lift this barracks up and then drop it to the low ground. That would not entirely surprise me.
Yeah, I think so. That wouldn't be too surprising at all. With the second gas taken here and the barrack about to finish up, we're going to see what the plan is going to be. Now, some alarm bells should go off from PiLiPiLi. Obviously not seeing that barracks. He now knows he's getting proxied, going to scout all over the base to make sure it's not like hidden in the corner or something. But as the barracks finishes up, the second gas is finished up as well. PiLiPiLi going immediately into a Zealot. Yeah, to be completely prepared for whatever happens here. Is going to be Marine first, and he's going to proxy his... Oh, he's going to proxy his factory here. We've seen this before, Steadfast. And it's so cute. It's so cute. I bet he proxies a starport there as well.
There is a possibility of that. Now, this, at the moment, Future has not yet committed to going for a one base all-in. Of course, this is very committed going for the proxy, but he has pulled a little bit off gas. But it's looking like this is going to be a Reactor Hellion proxy. If I had to get... Oh, man, we'll see in just a second if he does decide to swap those off. But that is what it looks like to me. Man, this is so interesting. I do expect we'll probably see... There we go. Yeah, the swap over. I do expect we'll probably see an expansion behind this. Oh, but it is looking like maybe he's going to throw down that starport. Yep. Oh, no, it is going to go back home. All right.
Interesting. Okay, so starport back home, keeping the SCV alive near the factory and barrack. That's a bit unusual. Normally you'd send that thing back home if you weren't going to build with it. So behind this for PiLiPiLi, who, again, can expect Hellions either in his natural or his main, depending on how fast that medevac gets out, which is a little bit strange. But PiLiPiLi going for the Twilight Council, which should mean Blink Stalkers, which generally do pretty well against Hellions. Already a bit of aggression here. One Marine trying to fend this off, but this is actually quite nice here. For PiLiPiLi, Future does not have anything back home, and he's not sending anything back home. Just bring the SCVs to repair, but he's going to lose some big SCVs here as the Stalker finishes off that last Marine. Oh, man, this is bad for Future.
Yeah, this is really, really difficult. Now, on the other side of the map, ooh, the Hellions and Reaper are going to run into the natural. They're going to be able to pick off a good number of probes right away. 3 probes getting taken down, and now it's just a 1 Stalker. Oh, trying to body block, not quite doing so. A decent little body block on the right side, but now these Hellions and Reaper will get on in here. They're going to be able to pick off a good number of probes. More Hellions being rallied in. Already going to be 8 workers at least. Oh, target fire.
Maybe.
Oh, no. Okay, 7 workers make that, but more Hellions coming in here.
Yeah, with 2 Stalkers back home, I think he's going to be all right. Again, there's nothing back home for Future right now. He's completely all in right now, going for some, on the other side of the map right now, going for some Widow Mines and an Armory. Apparently, he thinks he's going to clean up this Stalker, but PiLiPiLi's Stalker still alive in the main base of Future up at the top side here, still being kited away, but he's getting a lot more kills here. Still damage going down. This is a bloody opener from both players here, Steadfast.
Yeah, seeing this armory is actually such a big deal as well, and he gets himself into such a nice position right there. Does end up ultimately losing everything for that. Looks like, oh man, he must have just lost. Oh, what just happened with those Widow Mines? 6 kills and 1 kill, 7 more probe kills, and a Liberator shows up, grabs even more workers. PiLiPiLi is down to just 12 workers right now, and this is such a difficult scenario. The armory is done. That means these units have permanent cloaking, and there is nothing that is going to be able to detect them. Absolutely not at all. Now,
the question is going to be, can he sneak these Widow Mines in, walk them in without without getting caught by the Stalkers? The answer is likely not. They don't have drilling claws or anything, just plain old Widow Mines, but the medevac coming in will allow them to reposition a little bit more easily and soak up some of that Stalker fire. Even with Blink, PiLiPiLi finds himself in a tough spot now. Future, you gotta burrow this thing, man. Future, you gotta get it down, buddy. Oh, he gets it, and oh, PiLiPiLi blinks away just at the last minute there, losing some shields. Finally, Robo going down, but no mining at the natural, and as you said, the probe count just despicably low right now for PiLiPiLi. This is a really ugly game, but losing all of those SCV, or losing all of those probes to the Widow Mines was a really gross shot, and that put Future way in the lead.
Yeah, that was a really problematic phase right there. Ooh, nice blink.
Wow.
PiLiPiLi looking like he wanted to maybe drop the Widow Mines on top of that, but PiLiPiLi, oh, he is going to try and go after this, going hunting, and the Stalkers not going to be able to quite close the distance, but staying on top of this is so nice for PiLiPiLi. Almost going to be able to take this out. Oh, man, the dance is crazy.
This is great. What a beautiful do-si-do that we saw from Future and PiLiPiLi there. Future winning the day just a little bit. Interesting choice from Future, by the way, going for a Banshee behind this. He must know that an Observer is out. That's why he's not getting Cloak for the Banshees, but Banshee is still a really unusual choice, I think, with an Observer and Blink Stalkers out. Probably not what I would expect. It's going to add a lot of DPS to the initial push, and Future should know he's significantly ahead here with the amount of damage he's done, but he is going to sneak these 2 Widow Mines in, and with not a lot of Stalkers here, the last Widow Mine probably going to get down. No, does get taken down with the Widow Mine. Oh my god, he gets the medevac. Widow Mine number 2 is going to get taken out as well here, and with the Observer out, I believe that last Widow Mine, oh man, he was trying to retarget it, but didn't get anything done there. Good defenses by PiLiPiLi. I don't know, he's still way far behind though, Steadfast. Future has just a very strong army behind this. Look at the unit tab. 2 tanks, a Banshee, Widow Mine, 7 Marines as well. Just not that much for PiLiPiLi right now.
Yeah, I love this setup right here from Future, by the way. This is such a trap right now. He keeps the units. Oh, man, he's hiding them so that the tanks, well, anything that moves through, if there's no Observer to spot it, oh, my God, PiLiPiLi's vision. This is going to be so problematic.
Oh, no.
Oh, and he walks right
Stalkers.
into a meat grinder.
Losing a lot of Stalkers here. SCV's pulled off the line as well. Just 4, so it's not like an all-in. He hasn't officially pulled the boys, but they're going to be there to repair the tanks. And the Stalkers going in the middle of the map, trying to blink and slow down those tanks a little bit, but the Banshee getting a lot of work done as well. This is getting worse and worse for PiLiPiLi. The wall's closing in right now as Future looks to take us to a Game 3. Steadfast, that would just be very on-brand for the B-Stream today, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Nice blink forward. Will grab one of those tanks, but he does lose 1 or 2 Stalkers for it. Another blink forward. Oh, he doesn't quite take out the tank. There we go. Finishes the kill, but it does cost him an extra Stalker. Now nice target fire on the Banshee. Gonna go right after that and will take it out. Excellent usage of that Observer and really utilizing this blink very effectively. But now, most of that Expeditionary Force does get taken out, and I think this is just gonna be too much to deal with despite the really tenacious play coming out of PiLiPiLi. Battery Overcharge is gonna try and allow PiLiPiLi to buy some more time, but these tanks now gonna siege up, and the slow death march forward is underway. Battery Overcharge going to come, go on cooldown, I should say, turn off, switch off, run out.
Run out. Any of those work. They're all acceptable.
But now it's going to be a long time till we see Battery Overcharge again. And I don't think PiLiPiLi is going to be able to buy time for that.
Yeah, War Prism trying to drop here on top of the tanks, which is cute. Going to draw some of the Marine fire for just a moment here. Raven, though, with the auto turret to additionally drive this back, and 32 army supply to 17. Even with the War Prism on the south side there, we'll be able to warp in some Zealots to try and flank this, but honestly, the tank's sieging up now, and as you said, it's that long, slow push, the leapfrogging of the tanks. The Stalkers, of course, focus firing the tanks, but that means they're not focus firing these Marines, and the health of the Stalkers getting lower and lower. Poor target firing from Future, as he isn't able to pick off Stalkers individually, but this just means the warp in's not going to be enough here. And even the Observer getting picked off here. Future can just move his way into the natural, into the main. This game all but over, Steadfast, as we're looking at the Game 3 between these two players.
Yeah, and as you said, very on brand. PiLiPiLi really making something out of this, microing like an absolute beast. But Future ultimately is going to be able to take game number 2 with that very, very aggressive build. Really cool stuff coming out of Future.
It's good to see a bunch of tanks on the map super early. They just give you so much power, Steadfast. Even when they're unsieged, I feel like people are like, oh, tanks are useless when they're unsieged. They do so much DPS, especially against those armored Stalkers. Just insanely strong, and catching them in the middle of the map there with that little hidden behind the line of sight blockers, a very cute position for Future to drop his tanks. And again, continuing the trend today, underdog wins game 1. Big man wins game 2. So far, they've all been reverse sweep Steadfast, where the favored player has taken game 3 on the backside and been able to pull things back. Are you seeing that happen again from Future? Is he looking strong enough to win this game number 3?
Honestly, I was very impressed with what we saw from PiLiPiLi given that scenario. He did a lot to kind of mitigate that and give himself a chance still in that game. But that being said, we honestly haven't really seen a real game from either of these players yet. There was that 7-gate blink all in game number 1 and the massive proxies in game number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so tough to call. PiLiPiLi's micro is looking super on point, though. The blink stalker control and just the usage of them and how he maneuvered them around was really, really impressive. So I think if you can give him some blink stalkers on an even footing, he's going to be able to get a lot done with them in game number 3. Should have come to that.
You got to keep in mind, though, this is North America, and when you say if it happens in even footing in a normal game, the odds, not with us here, Steadfast. Not with us at all.
No, now the good news is for PiLiPiLi, as long as he wins the series, he is still going to advance.
Yes.
Map score technically to PiLiPiLi does not matter. Now, of course, he would love to get that 3rd spot over the 4th, but Group 2 is not yet, or Group B is not yet decided anyways. So it's not like, he guarantees himself a situation where he can play what is, in his opinion, an easier player. He just wants to advance. And so a 2-1 for him right now is just as good as a 2-0.
Excellent. Well, fingers crossed he can do it here. If he loses and Jon Snow's able to win his game, well, Scarlet's already beaten Jon Snow 1-0, so it doesn't matter, actually, Steadfast. It looks like PiLiPiLi is guaranteed that 4th place spot. Since Jon Snow lost his first game, Jon Snow needed that 2-0 to move on, since PiLiPiLi did win a game. PiLiPiLi guaranteed 4th place now, can move up to 3rd if he takes the 2-1. But so far, both these players, I believe, safe into the bracket stages. Let's hop into game number 3, and oh man, I'm so jazzed, Steadfast. This is going to be so much fun.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. Once again, we have spawning down in the bottom right position of the map, representing Alpha X. It is the red Terran player. Give it up for Future.
And his opponent in that top left-hand side in the blue, representing Genesis Gaming. It is our blue Protoss player, PiLiPiLi.
Now, I will say, if Jon Snow can actually turn it around and take a 2-1 over Scarlet, and PiLiPiLi does lose this series, Jon Snow will advance over top of him. He's going to have the 4-3 in series score versus it would be 3-4 for PiLiPiLi. So PiLiPiLi does still definitely want to win this, but I mean, ultimately he could end up getting bailed out by Scarlet regardless. If Scarlet ends up just winning the series against Jon Snow, even if she only 2-1s.
Oh, they do have the same map score, don't they? I'm sorry, I was totally wrong. Yeah, they do have the same match score. So you're absolutely correct. My apologies, Steadfast.
No, I mean, there's so many things to keep track of. When there's literally 7 tiebreakers.
It's insane.
So keeping track of all of them, easier said than done. A little bit of harassment coming down from PiLiPiLi, just going to be annoying with this probe. And, I mean, any time that you can kind of jostle your opponent's mental state, yeah, you're going to take that. You're going to take that and you're going to be happy.
Yeah, no question. Reaper out first here. Natural down for PiLiPiLi and then Cybercore. Things looking pretty good. Very normal game for game 3, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, even if these players aren't thinking about their overall position in the group and what happens in the group, at the end of the day, every single one of these wins is $100, and that's what they've got to keep their eyes on right now. Basically, a $100 best of 1 for PiLiPiLi in Future, so no surprises to see them both doing pretty standard builds in game number 3. Obviously, PiLiPiLi in Future, well, PiLiPiLi is certainly a player who likes to play standard. Future, he'll cheese every now and then, but also feels very comfortable in the mid game, in the late game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one thing this does guarantee is that I believe Nina. Nina versus PiLiPiLi. Who won that? Ooh, PiLiPiLi beat Nina. So theoretically, Nina might be in a scenario where she can still get. She can definitely still get knocked down to that 4th spot. But it'll all depend on what her results are. Ooh,
man, this is so exciting. And speaking of so exciting, PiLiPiLi gonna proxy a Dark Shrine, it's looking like. That Twilight Council slowly finishing up in the main base, but these DTs should not be detected by Future at all. Now, this is a very far away location for the Dark Shrine. Usually you'll see that a little bit closer to the Terran just because it means the DTs get in a little bit more quickly than they would otherwise, but I still think it's going to be nice here. Future might be looking to cut some corners, might be looking to get a bit of extra damage out here, and if he does cut those corners, if he skips the NG Bay completely, he could be in some trouble here. Relying on scans is always dicey, Steadfast.
That it is. Now we'll have to see if he does go for a Raven opener here. Okay, there we go. Starts up the Tech Lab.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean he's going for a Raven, but there is a decent chance that we will see that pop out. And if he goes for that Raven, that is, of course, going to be so useful. Hero Marine, one of those players that has really kind of dictated the meta a little bit by really, really prioritizing that Raven. And there we go. This is going to be a very useful unit for Future right now.
Absolutely, especially since he's cranking out those Marines 2 at a time. So 2x2 Marines of blue coming out. Well, I guess they're red, but come on, give me a break. Coming out here for Future. He's going to have 6 of them there and the Raven. And there's the gateway for the fast warp-ins. PiLiPiLi really investing a lot into this Dark Templar attack. I wouldn't be surprised if he warped in all 3 of them here rather than just the normal 1 or 2 that you see. Now the Dark Shrine's finished up and we're going to see how well he does. Warp Prism coming in. Okay, there's 2. So no third one just yet. Oh, that gateway's still finishing up. That's why. Is that the 4th gate? That's the 3rd gate. 4th gate.
That is, yeah, 3rd gate, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's why he hasn't gotten 3 DTs in yet. 3 gates, though, means he can, of course, reinforce as well. And whoa! Very early blink DTs. This is getting worse and worse as PiLiPiLi continues to invest more and more in these DTs Steadfast.
That's a big yikes on that first DT. Second one will be able to escape on out here. But absolutely 0 damage done right there for PiLiPiLi. And Future, he is going to see a lack of a 3rd Nexus with this Hellion. That scouting Hellion getting some very, very valuable information. Oh, and he's going to be looking around. We'll check this other 3rd base location. At first, I thought he was going to check around the map. And if he did, and he saw these little flaming eyes on the DT, or I guess, what is that, the Protoss?
It's a Dark Templar.
Yeah, what's the name of the race? It's not the Dalam Nerazim?
Nerazim, yes. I think that's right. I don't know.
Oh, did he get... No, he still did not get anything with this DT drop in the main.
Dang. The good news is Archons are still terrifying, and the even better news for PiLiPiLi is he's practically going all in now. Look at this gate count back home, adding on, I think it was 6 more gates going down. He has got just an absolute ton of them. 6, 7, 8, 9 gates going to be out soon, Steadfast, and this is more and more of an all-in as the pro production has stopped. Charge Lot is coming in. It's going to be Charge Lot Archon. Maybe some DTs to throw out that Raven, but of course the Raven going to be insanely valuable if DTs stay on the map. I don't know if this looks good for PiLiPiLi. I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah, this is looking pretty difficult for him. Future already has a wall. He's got that Raven well placed. Stim and combat shields are not yet done, and that is a pretty big problem. But Future is going to reposition here. This Hellion has been the MVP of this game, and it's going to see a Zealot, going to see the charge even, and should see this setup here. Oh, man, look at the interference matrix, meanwhile, on this this War Prism. And now the Hellion, oh, it is actually in pursuit of this army. Okay, will not find it.
Barely misses it there. PiLiPiLi does get around to the army supply, obviously in favor of Future right now, and a much more well-rounded army, right? He's got tanks for zone control. He's got the Marines for DPS. He's going to load up and get back into his natural right away. Great wall here from Future. He knows this is coming, saw it from a mile away, and these poor Zealots not going to get much done. DT's blinking on top of the tanks here. Tank 1 down, Tank 2 down. Marines still here. These DT's adding a lot of DPS, though, Steadfast.
Yeah, Stim was about 10 seconds away from finishing, just now comes online, but this is an excellent position for Future. That War Prism is going to stay alive for the moment, but look at how many charge lots they are, but they're in such a tight choke right now. It is very razor's edge. This Raven is still alive and means those DTs that get warped in are not going to be cloaked, and PiLiPiLi, he did get 13 SCVs right there, but I think he overstayed his welcome. And, well, oh, now he's going to turn around and fight. Going to lose pretty much everything. Just a single stalker coming out of this.
Future, run across the map right now, Future. Future, go. Future, go! Oh man, he's not going to. Gonna sit back home and try and macro his way out. This is about the worst possible decision Future could make. Look at the income versus army supply right now, Steadfast. If Future were to send a battalion, even a double drop across the map, PiLiPiLi wouldn't be able to do anything about it. He's got barely any income to warp at anything, and he's going for a second wave. Wow, I'm a little surprised that PiLiPiLi is keeping this aggression on. The wall is down, but the Marines are still here, and I feel like these DTs are just gonna evaporate.
Yeah, they do manage to blink forward and take out the tank, but it's just not even close to enough. Future with that stim, that combat shield, and that